The name Linux comes from the combination of Linus, the creator's name Linus Torvalds, plus Unix, the operating system that served as a major conceptual inspiration for the project. To understand Linux, it's important to first understand the history of Unix. The history of Unix is linked to the Multics project, which began in the 1960s. Multics was developed by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, General Electric, GE, and Bell Labs, AT&T's research laboratory. The goal of Multics was to create a time-sharing system, allowing multiple users to simultaneously use a single mainframe computer, something extremely innovative for its time. By 1969, a version of Multics was already running on the GE 645 computer. Despite being technically advanced, the project was complex and costly. AT&T eventually withdrew from the project, but a researcher at Bell Labs, Ken Thompson, decided to develop a simpler system, inspired by the ideas of Multics. Thus, Unix was born. The name was suggested by Brian Kernighan, also from Bell Labs. In 1973, Dennis Ritchie rewrote Unix in the C programming language, which he himself had developed. This was a fundamental milestone. By being written in a high-level language instead of assembly, Unix became portable and could be adapted to different types of hardware, which boosted its worldwide dissemination. Between the late 1970s and the 1980s, AT&T began marketing versions of Unix. The most important of these was Unix System Vive, officially released in 1983. He launched it into the world, and thousands of programmers began developing it alongside him. Years later, he needed a tool to coordinate all these collaborators. They were using BitKeeper, but suddenly the free license was revoked. Your solution? In just a few weeks, he created Git, the version control system, now used by millions of programmers, GitHub. Currently, Linux powers the internet, supercomputers, and Android, while Git is the backbone of collaboration in the software domain. Linux has taken over the internet and is now starting to take over the world. However, this became something bigger, much bigger. Nowadays, this open source operating system is called Linux. It's one of the most important computer programs in the world. You use it every day. Linux runs on every Android phone and tablet on the planet. And even if you're using an iPhone, iMac, or Windows device, Linux is running all over the internet. Linux serves as the foundation for the vast majority of web pages you visit and applications you use. Facebook, Google, Pinterest, Wikipedia. All of this is using Linux. Linux is now on track to dominate televisions, thermostats, and even cars, with computer programs becoming increasingly present in our lives. The operating system developed by Linus Torvalds also has the collaboration of many developers, and he doesn't take all the credit. The roots of his operating system go back 20 years before its creation, when Unix was created at AT&T's Bell Labs in 1969. For decades, Unix was the standard operating system for commercial computing. But there was a problem. It was created by AT&T and only worked on mainframe computers. The so-called geeks wanted something that could work on their personal computers, not just on expensive computers. In 1984, Richard Stallman began working on GNU, a clone of Unix, whose acronym, paradoxically, means GNU's, not Unix. In Portuguese, GNU means GNU is not Unix. Around 1991, Stallman and his company had rewritten a large part of Unix, but they were missing an important component. The kernel, which is one of the fundamental components of an operating system, responsible for communicating with the hardware and translating inputs from a keyboard, mouse, and touchscreen into something that software can understand, for example. So, Torvalds decided to create a kernel. Before long, other developers were using the Linux kernel in combination with GNU and a wide variety of tools. Many people still insist on calling these operating systems GNU Linux distributions. But it is the kernel that serves as the basis for Android and many other new software applications. The rise of Linux mirrors the rise of the World Wide Web, the WWW, which began around the same time. It's difficult to say how popular Linux is on the web, but According to a W3C study, Unix and Unix-like operating systems, they run on 67% of all web servers in the world. At least half of that amount runs Linux, probably the vast majority. Even Microsoft, who was once a sworn enemy of Linux, adopted this open source operating system. In 2012, the company announced that it would allow other companies to use Linux in its cloud computing service, Microsoft Azure. At this very moment, about 1/3 of the service instances use Linux instead of Windows. Microsoft itself is using Linux for some Azure networking functions. And Linux is so essential to the web that Microsoft even partnered with Canonical, the creator of Ubuntu, to simplify the process of developing websites using Linux on Microsoft operating systems. There are several reasons for this. The most obvious is that while you need to pay for a Windows Server license, most versions of Linux are available for free download, even for businesses and groups with commercial purposes. Furthermore, Linux is open source, which means that anyone can modify and redistribute its source code however they want, adapting the code to your needs. With the growth of the web, the developers use Linux to address their needs and also to launch new Linux-based operating systems, who had all their favorite programs and tools. Key technologies such as the AP web server, MySQL database, and the Perl programming language, they have become standard across all major Linux distributions. However, Linux also had some luck. It wasn't the only free operating system of the 1990s, but a legal battle between AT&T and a company called Berkeley Software Design. The growth of the main alternatives to Linux has slowed. The great future. For years, Linux remained in the background, hidden while running the web servers of the world's leading companies, without ever finding much success on personal devices. That changed in 2008, when Google launched Android, and Linux has finally found its way into the world of mobile phones. Android cannot run Linux applications that have not been translated to the Google platform. But the success of Android spurred a great rise in Linux and the open source community, finally showing that this community could work on applications for end users. Android now dominates the mobile phone market. According to the market research firm Gartner, the Android operating system held 84% of the market during the first quarter of 2016. Now, the reach of Linux is extending far beyond just mobile phones. You can find it on smart TVs from Samsung, LG, thermostatus Nest, digital readers, Kindle, Amazon, and drones from companies like 3D. Just to give a few examples, the large screens in Tesla cars also run Linux, and many other companies, including Toyota, Honda, and Ford, sponsor the automotive-grade Linux project, which is dedicated to building software for connected cars. Furthermore, self-driving cars also run on Linux. Today, companies use Linux to build new technologies for the same reason that web developers used the operating system in the 1990s. They can adapt it to their needs and then share or sell the results without having to ask permission to do so. And all this because of a Finnish student who wanted to share his work with the world. Not bad for a hobby, is it? Did you enjoy this type of video and content? Then thank you for leaving a like, comment, and share with your friends. Also, post the link to this video on your Facebook and Instagram story. Copy it to your WhatsApp status as well. This will encourage the revival of this channel and is totally free for you. Consider also subscribing to this channel. Thank you very much for your participation. God bless your life in Christ Jesus.